So if you've been playing the Elementalist for a while, like some caffeinated father you know has told you to, you've seen a lot of up and downs with how the Ellie can treat new players and veterans alike. After a while, the class really isn't all that complicated, but usually having an elite spec to cover the initial difficulties of core Ellie helps significantly. But no, I want to play a mage. I want to play a caster shooting fireballs and lightning, and yeah, I'm tired of you naysayers. I'm also the one who's most critical on the Ellie. I recently made a guide on how to play the Ellie, and I messed around with core Elementalist and the staff, and I was legitimately surprised how strong the staff is. So out of the weapon choices for the Elementalist, you usually only pick either the scepter or the dagger. Scepter is especially strong right now, and the staff has fallen in stonks as far as power is concerned, unless we are talking about World v. World, where it is basically God mode. I also am not looking at the staff as a support. We get it, the staff supports. No, I want to be the elemental smashing, earthquaking, god wielding a staff, and stop shoving me into melee. I want to throw fireballs from a distance. Now, I wanted to give a solid review of this build because of the plethora of elite specializations, which basically do everything better, faster, stronger, whatever Kanye said. I asked, can I still be useful in Guild Wars 2 endgame as a core staff-wielding elementalist? So first I took a look at Open World. Open World is arguably the most forgiving when it comes to this style of play. Most things don't really hit super hard, and you can utilize the elemental summons to basically cover your rear by distracting enemies while you blast away. I ended up going with the Celestial stat line as a first choice and went with Divinity runes. Literally anything Celestial Divinity is great with the Elementalist, let's be serious. But what I did find out was that I was lacking heavily in damage when it came to harder enemies, such as champions or elites. I ended up having to wet noodle them to death. I didn't think I provided enough blasting damage to be the hard smacking elemental god that I want. No, I want fiery death. So I swapped Vipers and started turning up the heat. The staff has quite a bit of burning, although surprisingly no burning on Meteor Shower. That's actually kind of odd. Anyway, with Vipers and Rune of Balthazar, it worked fantastically. Now, I probably could have switched out for Rune of the Undead for better synergy with the Strength of Stone trait in the Earthline, but, you know, fire damage goes brrr. The staff burning abilities technically have a short cooldown that I can literally have them up every few seconds. I don't really need to switch out of Fire Attunement, but I like cycling through the elements, so that's just me. Then if I ever feel pressed, I can use Air 3 or Air 5 to stun and push the enemies away, and then basically create a wall with Earth 4. I mean, it was easy peasy lemon squeezy, but that's not really true because it's Ellie, but you get the point. Utilizing the elements and your ability to basically kite with super speed and kite on demand, I mean, it just keeps you moving and keeps you alive. What I did find out was, honestly, with the elemental summons, you were able to take on much larger foes, and it made open world a breeze, utilizing the staff and its crowd control. Now, we could say that you use the elementals and other weapon combinations, i.e. scepter or dagger, for probably better results. But again, we're looking for that good aesthetic of a staff elementalist, a staff mage. Now, I did end up switching my build around when I ended up taking on harder hitting enemies, utilizing lightning flash and the plethora of crowd control to keep enemies at distance when I needed to pump up the damage. But honestly, I was able to tackle larger enemies, stronger enemies. So Staff Ele in open world PvE, check, it works. All right, so moving on to structured PvP, and let's be serious with PvP nowadays, everything moves so damn fast. It's like not even funny. You can get dropped faster than a $20 bill on a gem store sale. Now, how can we hang in the current meta where everyone is being deleted in a blink of an eye? So PvP for the Staff Elementalist has some play, but it has to be very calculated. You must choose each engagement with incredible care because you don't have the OP-ness of any of the elite specs on the meta to carry you. You can pretty much move and run as much as you need to. The only thing you have to really worry about here is hard CC, which of course is always the story of the Elementalist. Your elementals can't really tank for you right now, so why even bring them? While you are kiting and running, your elementals are out there stealing people's souls, snatching them up while you blissfully run around. Use your elite skill to trigger Arcane Shield for some free blocks. Oh, you were low on HP. Air 5 to create a stun ring, and then water heal for days. I use the meteor shower to pepper some serious damage onto foes, but the best part, of course, is literally trolling people by knocking them around. Now, I cannot say that this worked all the time, and a lot of this of what you're seeing is when it went really well. And when it went well, things were good. But when it didn't go well, things were bad. Now, I did run into an issue with cleansing. I ran the Wizard's Amulet, and that gave me some serious burning and a little bit of strike damage, of course. But most professions are capable of cleansing themselves fairly often, and it's hard for that burning damage to really stick the way I need it to. I mean, it's PvP, and I'm a core elementalist. It's gonna be tough anyway, but man, it's a great feeling when you're able to melt an enemy with tons of burning and then basically troll them with an earth wall. It's good fun. And of course, for anyone who's played structured PvP, you know that you can get kind of blasted away fairly easily as an elementalist. And even as a Staff Ele, even though I was running and kiting and doing all that, it still didn't save me a lot of the times. And something about blasting someone with a crit from Shockwave and then knocking them back and away, it feels great. You do feel like an elemental master. Now I'm curious, what new weapon would you like to see for the elementalist? Personally, I would love to see a longbow that shoots elemental arrows. Now this is of course down the road, but that's just me. Okay, so now how does it perform in Game PVE? So let me just say, as a disclaimer, you can fully perform your staff mage casting fantasy, 110%. Now you can technically bounce back and forth between condition damage or power, but personally condition damage is a great way to see the big numbers and keep up. But you of course can go the strike damage and have great success. You don't really provide anything of use, basically my whole YouTube channel, like alacrity or quickness. But again, you are also not here for anything else other than your own elemental glory. Is your group starting to wipe because of lack of healing? Boom, water attunement and rain down that sweet, sweet healing onto them. Need a break bar snapped, air attunement, and you literally can break it in a half second. I mean, the staff literally has everything that you could want. Now, having said that, it was a blast to play. It was so much fun to actually just run around with the staff and do what you need to do as a casting mage. And of course, you're not putting out the DPS such as a power weaver and obliterating everything into a fine mist. But it was still fun to put out some damage, have your casting mage, have your elementals there. It fit the aesthetic perfectly. Lastly, let's go ahead and take a look at World v World. I played basically what the Staff Elementalist is pretty good at. Long range group DPS. Rain down that fiery glory onto foes. Now, I did get blasted a bunch of times very quickly, but it is World v World. That happens no matter what you play. I did play a roamer style for the core Ellie, and I could take objectives, but I got treated like a loot bag by every single thief that came across me. It got old, but again, this is the life of playing an elementalist. Now, I don't play a whole lot of World v World, and I won't sit here and pander as if I do, but I can see why people like to stack up elementalists and use their staffs to just rain down fiery hell on everyone. It's good fun. I do have to say that I'm going to have to play more World v World, because something about outplaying someone in the Borderlands is just a unique, satisfying feeling. Is this what you guys get to do all day? Holy crap, this is great. Okay, so if you are still here, then you are an absolute champ, and you are required to join the Caffeinated Club by subscribing. Do it. Okay, here are some critiques that I have for the Staff Ele. First, the air attunement needs a bit more It has control, of course, but perhaps swapping air to lightning surge and giving us a stronger damaging ability. Also, scaling the damage from chain lightning would greatly assist in this matter. And the earth ability eruption could have some strike damage scaling upwards as well, or even really be reworked, as this cast is awfully slow and hits like a wet noodle, even with the bleeding. Also, the big fire ability Meteor Shower unfortunately casts way too slow. It's a nearly 4-second long cast. I mean, I'd make the suggestion to have a baseline cast deal, say, like a minimum amount of damage, and then it deals more damage over time the longer you were able to sit there and complete the cast. This gives more value to those who can complete the cast versus those who just only place it down. This may be already how it is, it's awfully difficult to tell, but aside from those changes and some slight damage pumps, I'm certain that there would be more staff slinging mages out there. Overall, I give the Staff Ele 5 out of 5 downstates for great success and fun play. If you are still new to the Elementalist, check out this complete guide on the Ellie and what you can do to play the caster in Guild Wars 2. Stay caffeinated, folks.